What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and you know, this may be a bit of a shock to hear this from me today. There may be people out there whose worldviews are about to explode in a ball of fiery truth, but here it is. It turns out that most people just aren't interested in watching grandma action movies.
No way!
Now don't get me wrong, if grandma action movies were done as a parody or something, they could be absolutely hilarious, but Borderlands ain't it, and anybody could see this from a mile away. That is one of the reasons why this film suffered through a historically awful box office performance on its opening weekend. Borderlands makes Madam Web look like a box office success by comparison, and so we are going to take a look at just how terrible this box office opening weekend was for Borderlands. This is the sort of humiliating failure that could absolutely obliterate a franchise, which is hilarious since Take-Two literally just purchased Gearbox Software just a couple months ago, and the Borderlands IP was clearly the crown jewel of the acquisition.
What is this? What is this? Where's all the money? That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, where my handle is Dr. Disaster1. But anyhow, let's look at how things turned out for Borderlands. Keep in mind, this is a movie that cost about $100 million to produce, and it cost about $30 million to promote it. So, they spent $130 million in total on this film, and since the movie theaters take about half the ticket sales when a movie comes out, that means that Borderlands needs to make $260 million at the box office to hit their break-even point, and they will not come anywhere near that number. According to Box Office Mojo here, Borderlands brought in just shy of $9 million at $8.8 million on the opening weekend. For reference, Box Office Mojo says that Madam Web got a little over $15 million on its opening weekend. That means that the opening weekend of Borderlands only managed about 2/3 of Madam Web's performance, and Madam Web is universally viewed as a terrible failure. But let's compare this movie now to another box office bomb that came out earlier this year. Furiosa had an awful opening weekend of only $26 million, but still, Borderlands didn't even hit a third of that. With the opening weekend out of the way for Borderlands, though, we can make some educated guesses as to exactly how much money this piece of shit is going to lose. The money that both Madam Web and Furiosa made on their opening weekends, respectively, in the US ended up being about 15% of their total global box office haul. That seems to be a trend for movies that don't have great word of mouth, and so, if Borderlands follows that pattern, we can expect the movie to make just under $59 million globally, which is laughable. With only half that amount going to the movie studio, that means that the makers of the film will have lost $100 million on the movie. This is the price of trying so desperately to push the female action star onto moviegoers. What do all three of these movies that came out this year that I've been talking about have in common? Well, they try to push girl power into action movies, which is a lot like trying to store your pet snake with your pet hamster. The hamster is gonna get eaten. You can cry and whine about how it isn't fair that you can't keep your snake and your hamster monster in the same cage, but too bad. That's just reality. At least, that's reality these days. There was a time when the entertainment industry knew how to write female action stars, and a female action star as a lead in a film wasn't an automatic turnoff for the majority of the audience. There were characters like Ripley, Sarah Connor, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Those all became iconic, but these days, Hollywood writes these female action stars the same way they'd write male action stars, as if there's no difference between people, and it just doesn't work. It's like they don't understand people anymore. Not to mention the fact that they are clearly cramming all of this girl power crap into our faces as a way of pushing a message, and people can sense that shit a mile away. We are all very sick of the message, to the point that a film like Furiosa, which I heard from many people was actually a decent movie, but that movie bombed at the box office because people are rejecting the female action star out of hand, and I don't blame anyone for feeling that way. So yeah, Borderlands was always doomed to be a failure of a film. Nobody wants to watch grandmas like Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis going around shooting guns. Nobody wants to see movies like that. And to top all this off, the franchise lost the goodwill of its fan base years ago when Gearbox made the absolute trash games Borderlands 3 and then Tiny Tina's Wonderland. The stories in those titles were so abysmally written that there is almost no recovering from them, which is certainly another factor as to why this movie is failing so epically. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of Borderlands into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.